Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from, well, we'll call him George, and he is in the Jean Bart. Now, George might not be his nickname here in-game, but, you know, it's his nickname on YouTube, so I'm not entirely making this up, and I have no idea how to pronounce the nickname. So, anyway, he's on the map Shatter in a 3-point domination game. There is a tier 8 carrier, and, well, they are top tier at tier 9, so that's amazing. There is only one destroyer, and for some reason everyone at the A-cap decided that's not the place they wanna be. Which is probably not gonna work out, let's be honest about that. Well, the friendlies here have realized the situation, and they are pushing. Now, the thing about the C-cap is that you can basically arrive a stalemate if you have ships on both sides of the island, and in order to stop that, you need to push around and just sink with behind the island. That's exactly what the friendlies are doing. The Missouri here with the radar is a good way to counter the 3G smoke, and it looks like the enemy destroyer might not even be here on this flank, so far, I mean, at least at this flank it's working pretty nicely. The other flank is non-existent, so the enemies get a free A-cap and then they're probably going to flank the... I mean, it depends on how those ships in the middle... I will say this, right? There isn't a single ship that's staying on the A side, which means there isn't one who's going to sacrifice himself. So if those ships like push through here and then utterly devastate those enemies here fast enough before the enemy can get in a good position, there might actually be a good friendly start. Now, what's not so good is that Lexington, right? There is nobody at the A side from the friendly. That means the enemy will guaranteed push through here. So what that Lexington needs to do is he needs to run here towards the 10 line as fast as he can. And the Lexington is doing none of that. That's a bit unfortunate. But hey, maybe the enemy... Like, I mean, there is still some time. The enemy isn't there yet, I suppose. The enemy has barely started. Like, it's actually also curious. The enemy destroyer doesn't seem to be on this flank, or at least we haven't seen any indication. So you would imagine he's at the A side, but he hasn't taken the A, and he could have all this time. Now, friendlies have first blood. And Georgia is still just sitting here and, well, shooting enemies. Now, he could try to push the Izumo, but you don't want to get into crossfire with the Amagi. And the Amagi is broadside, so why not just farm the Amagi and push the Izumo afterwards? Right now, it's like the Izumo is basically the problem of the center blob, because the center blob has the Izumo broadside, right? All of those ships should be absolutely devastating the Izumo in no time. Now, the friendlies actually got the center, the enemies got A. The friendlies should be getting C. Now it comes to how well are they going to defend center, I suppose. There is one Izumo in the north, and I like that because the Izumo... I mean, he has to be careful, but he can sort of slow down the push here from the enemies. And he is in a position where he can easily run away and escape. So I like that Izumo positioning. He has to be careful that he doesn't show too much broadside, but otherwise... good guy. Meanwhile, George here is still engaged with the enemies here. The secondaries are pounding the Izumo. The Izumo is interesting. There you go. Just saying, like, the Izumo is so broadside that you'd expect her to get devastated a lot earlier, but they managed. Now the friendlies are 2 ships ahead. And, well, okay. Looks like the Izumo got stopped by a Yugumo. So we know the Yugumo is here in the north. And the carrier, is he finally moving? Well, that's probably where, yeah, there is the Yugumo. So it looks like the Yugumo decided to probably go flanking here and up. Well, I guess isn't that north. So on the bright side is the Yugumo hasn't played very cap oriented, which means the enemy A-cap was very delayed. But the Yugumo is going to sink that Lexington, most likely, or at least keep him spotted for the team to sink, because the Lexington had yet 7 minutes. For 7 minutes we knew that this was going to happen. And he did nothing. So, well... But you know, it's not the end of the world. The friendlies have a points advantage. They're going to grab C now. And yeah, they have the ship advantage. It's not too shabby. Now what the friendlies need to do is, like, when we look at the minimap, it looks like a lot of enemy ships are pushing north. They're not going directly into B. Which means the friendlies need a larger presence north, probably. Like, maybe 2 or 3 ships inside B and the others maybe up here a little bit. Just so that the friendly... Like, if you sail every friendly ship inside B, then they're going to get surrounded. The problem, of course, is with the friendly carrier gone, the hunting down the Yugomo will be a bit more problematic. The Kitakaze could try. Now he gets outspotted by a Yugomo, but not by that much. The enemy carrier, of course, is an issue for the friendly destroyers, so we will see. Now, meanwhile, George is on his way towards the center. And his division mate is on his way north. Now, his division mate is in the Missouri, so the radar... I mean, that radar might come into play to hunt down the Yugomo. So the friendly carrier is down, which, yeah. I mean, it was inevitable, wasn't it? But still not looking too bad. The enemy has started contesting the center, and there is a Bismarck in there. There seems to be an Alsace going this way. Archery and Friedrich probably going around their north. Not sure what the cruisers are going to do. Maybe they're just spamming here into the center. And oh, there is a potential to maybe do some... well, nice harm to a Seattle. And it looks like the enemy Bismarck is even retreating out of the center camp. We have a friendly Tirpitz in here. Tirpitz is a good brawler with torpedoes. But he has to be careful that he isn't, well, taking on too many. I'm not sure how well those islands are all surfaces protection like this. Probably like 4 ships that can shoot the Tirpitz right now. I feel like he might have been better off just playing a bit more defensive, like waiting a bit. Like, he could have used those islands for a bit better cover and waited for reinforcements to arrive. Or he could have tried to... well, if he wants to go north there into this channel, he needed to be a bit more aggressive to make his torps work. So the enemy team has equalized on ships. The friendlies still have the points lead. And they still have 2 camp zones, so not too bad. Now, this is actually... well, I mean, we have a large presence north. I'd expected more ships of the enemy to go north, to be honest. So I can't blame those guys for positioning that way. Right now, maybe a second ship or so towards the center. Then again, the enemy isn't really pushing in here, so... George might be able to just delay them quite enough. And once the enemy pushes in too far, then those guys are creating a crossfire together with George here. So I guess it's not looking too bad. In comes the carrier, but there is an Atlanta nearby to help out, and it's only a T8 carrier. The anti-air side is reinforced. I mean, he managed to get a drop-off anyway, but those carrier torps aren't hurting that badly. So I guess it's alright. Now, meanwhile, George himself is using high explosive because the enemy Alsace is angled. So he's just trying to burn them. It's back to armor piercing though, because there is a Seattle there that really needs a spanking. And unfortunately, it looks like the enemy has figured out that they can just shoot an Atlanta. The Atlanta really doesn't have good islands there to help out from behind, I'm afraid. And for some reason, the friendlies keep losing ships in the north.
Boost des moteurs activé.
So, let's see if he gets another shot at this Seattle. The last salvo was alright, and there goes the reload booster. He wants to sink the Seattle fast. I mean, it's not like it has an awful lot of armor. Then again, it doesn't need armor if the shells just refuse to hit, right? Unfortunately, Jean Bart's gun caliber isn't the biggest. But still, I feel like the next salvo should hopefully be able to deal with that. That's why he's not going for the bow, but why he's aiming higher. On the other hand, the archery is going broadside, so is he trying to finish off the Seattle, or is he going for the archery? Well, it looks like he is using the broadside opportunity. That archery is most likely launching torps. And the Seattle has been dealt with. That's nice. There goes another cruiser. Now the friendlies are one ship behind at this point, but one ship is not the end of the world. Somehow they managed to lose all of those guys, and the Miyoko has come down. So far it's just has been the Atlanta and George here holding this position. The Atlanta goes down. Now we have Miyoko reinforcements. The Bismarck is all alone there in the north. And that Friedrich seems awfully healthy. So it's 2 against 5 now. This has deteriorated quite. I'm not sure how the friendlies lost all of their ships in the north without doing much, but it's certainly not very good. But there is 7 minutes left to play. Let's see if George and the Miyoko can pull it off. Now the Miyoko might be coming in here with troops. The Miyoko also has to be careful that he isn't just getting farmed by an Alsace. And George, well, he has options. He can try to do the sail by. The thing is, will he get the citadels? Will the enemy get... Oh, the enemy has beached. So he's trying to go for a safe play, and he's trying to disable the enemy guns. And it looks like the Alsace is going for the Miyoko instead. Not entirely surprised by this. Unfortunately, he has failed to disable the gun. Oh, no, not this time. This turret is gone for good. Now the enemy Miyoko is very low, but there is still another turret remaining. Well, and the rear turret, I suppose. So, turret knocked out, but it just wasn't enough. So he permanently destroyed one turret, he temporarily knocked out another, but the Miyoko still went down. Okay, so once more for the turret. Get it? Come on, zoom in again. Show me those turrets. No, not yet. One more, and there we go. Now both front guns are taken out. Oh, and there appears the Friedrich. Well, I mean, this is not looking that good. Now, the Alsace is going for the ram. I mean, if you have lost both front turrets, that's actually a reasonable choice. Honestly, the Alsace could have gone for the ram a lot earlier. So he managed to take that one down. But what about this Friedrich? Now, on the bright side, the Friedrich is broadside. You know? Thing is, I don't think that will matter much. Oh, he managed to sneak in a citadel and he got the detonation. Okay, he detonated this guy. So, you know what? And suddenly he's back into this game. Like the enemy has a leader when the enemy is starting to take C. So he has to defend C as fast as possible. Don't think he can turn around in this small quarter. So he probably goes forward, then turns right. Like, if the enemy, like the enemy is already in the lead, right? The friendlies are not, gaining on the enemy because C is contested. So he needs to sink at least one ship, depending on if he can stop that. You need to turn. Right? Your only chance of winning this is to go to C. Going A does nothing. You're already behind. The enemy will flip C before you reach A, and then they will come for B. Like, come on, turn around. It's your only chance. You need to sink them. And there is the Sarah. It's a good start. Now, how about a devastating strike? And, well, not quite. But I mean, it's nice damage. And now he's turning around. So, the enemy flipped C, right? So now the enemy will actually increase their lead. So sinking the Sarah won't be enough. He needs to sink 2 ships. So he needs to sink the Yugomo and the Sarah. Well, I mean, technically he could sink the carrier, but let's just be honest. The carrier is probably not just randomly going to pop up, right? So, I mean, if that Sarah just sails away, this is utterly lost. There's 3 minutes remaining, even if he taps C. I think he can't win this unless he sinks... Well, at least 1. If he sinks 1 and gets into C, yeah, no, he probably needs to sink 2. So we assume the Yugomo took C, which means the Yugomo might just be coming down. Well, I mean, he might be coming from this side or from the other side, or he might just be sailing down towards the sunset. But we want to win this, so we'll hope that the Yugomo actually is going to engage Zara broadside. There go the shells, and that's a prime opportunity to get 2 overpens. That's a bit sad, because if it managed to devastate the Zara here, then you need to go faster. Like, obviously he wants to launch torps. The Zara is probably torping this way, and the Yugomo might just have been torping this way, because we don't know where he is. I mean, he'll also be here at this point. But there's 2 minutes. You can't play this safe. You're already losing, right? You can't lose worse. The only option that you have is to win. So you just have to go for it. And if there is a wall of torps coming, then so be it. There was nothing you could have done. I mean, he needs to sink both. So I mean, he needs a destroyer to screw up and get close enough. For example, if the destroyer was waiting in this gap, then the destroyer would be spotted. I mean, that's also very easy to get torped in this game. Ideally, like, he could sink this Zara here, then go through this gap, find the destroyer and sink the destroyer, and here are the torps. Unfortunately, he took 1, but it's just 1. He's still floating. Let's see. I mean, that just gives a bit more adrenaline rush, so might come in handy. Being positive. That's an overpen, that's not so positive. So yeah, I'd say ideal scenario, he sinks that Zara and then he finds the Yugomo probably through this gap and then just shoots the Yugomo. I mean, the reason why he's slowing down here is probably because he expects torps from here. And maybe he even wants to go there after he sunk the Zara. Like, at this point contesting the cap does nothing, there isn't enough time for that to matter. So he really needs to sink that Zara, and then he could actually go change towards the other side and hopefully sink the Yugomo, but it's 45 seconds. He also is out of all consumables, there's no more reload boost or anything. If he doesn't sink this guy fast, then he won't have time to sink the Yugomo, even if he spots the Yugomo. And I mean, if that Zara just sails enough far away, then... Oh, the Zara is turning, that's the chance. He's in concealment, and he's going... I guess he's decided to commit it. I mean, a Yugomo, we don't know if he's through this gap. He might just be coming around this way, right? I mean, he has to just take a chance there. Try something. It's 10 seconds left. And look at that, the Yugomo was through this gap. But it doesn't matter. He did get the Zara, though. And here we are with the results. George earned himself 1,891 base experience in a defeat, and it wasn't enough. It's a shame, because this was a pretty close battle, and... oh well, you can't win them all. George earned himself a Confederate, a Kraken, a Devastating Strike, a Dreadnought, a First Blood, and a High Caliber, scoring 244,000 points of damage, sinking 5 enemies, even got 1 million credits in a defeat, and it just wasn't enough. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you guys next time.